I switched from Galaxy S24 Ultra to Galaxy Z Fold6 for a few days already and decided to document my whole day with it. I'm going to review not only the usability of the Fold but also the battery, thermals, display, camera, and everything you need to know about it. I will also run different applications that I use on a daily basis to see how they look like on the new Fold. I started the day around 8 a.m. in the morning by watering my plants on the balcony. The phone is charged to 100%. The battery of the Fold is 4400 mAh, which together with the larger screen makes me slightly skeptical whether it's going to last the whole day or not. I'm also running the app that I wrote to measure the battery life, thermal, signal strength, and other matrices of the phone. The phone has two screens, one inner or main one, and one cover screen which is narrower than the typical phone like S24 Ultra, but I'm used to a narrower screen since I'm using Xperia phones for some time, and it makes it easier to handle the phone one-handed. I took the underground metro to go to the train station since I'm going to Linz today from Vienna to work in the Adidas office there. I really enjoy reading on the train rides and I often bring my Kindle Oasis, but this time I decided to read my light novel using the Kindle app on the Galaxy Z Fold6, and it was a great experience. I would still use my Kindle for long reading sessions because of the e-ink, but for half an hour or an hour, the Fold is a great option. Before I used the Kindle app on Fold, I thought it was going to split the screen in two for Kindle, like a book, which thinking about it is a bit stupid, but I don't know, that's what I thought it's gonna do. I took some videos on the way using the main sensor. These days, there is not much of a difference between the flagships when it comes to the daylight, and all of them do a great job. The difference is more when you push them in low light situations and the limitations start to show, and I'll test that later in the day. But at least for the daytime, the videos are high quality and video stabilization works nicely. I got on the train with my colleague and the battery level is at 91% at 9 a.m. The phone is a bit hot, but it's mostly because of the summer in Vienna. I also noticed the middle of the screen is quite visible when I'm sitting on the train and the light shining directly on it. It was not as visible in indoor situations. There is a glossary finish on the screen. I'm using an official case from Samsung that also includes the pen. Usually I use the S Pen on my Ultra to write down notes when I'm making a review, and I did the same with this one. As much as I enjoyed the larger screen, it was a bit annoying that the screen does not stay flat, so I always have to actually hold the phone when I'm writing notes using the cover. One other thing that I noticed bothers me a bit about the usability of foldables is that the front screen always gets smudgy with fingerprints. The reason is that when you are using the inner screen, you have to hold the phone by the cover screen using your hand. Also, when you want to close your phone, you have to put your finger in the middle of the screen, which again adds more fingerprints to it. One thing that I started to love about the Galaxy Z Fold6 is how big the charts are. Here I'm using YouTube Studio, but I also did check charts that I made in Python and they look fantastic. It's definitely a great phone for productivity. If you're a data analyst or a data scientist and you look at charts all day. I also like how the folds look from the back. It is very obviously different from other phones on the market. I'm not a person that wants to put a statement out there with my phone choice, but if that's who you are, the Z Fold definitely gets some attention. I've heard at least from 2 people on my trip asking what phone I'm using. The front screen is, as I said, a tad narrower. I'm not particularly a fan of it, but at the same time it makes it better for being used one-handed, especially if you just want to go through some social media. It is 9:45 and the phone has 85% battery left. The phone is also 33 degrees Celsius or 91 degrees Fahrenheit, which is not particularly hot considering it's summer right now. Let's also check the design without the case. The Z Fold 6 is narrower compared to Z Fold 5. The shape of the cameras also changed a bit. It depends on your taste whether you like the new design. The Samsung logo is on the side and not on the back like the S24 Ultra. There is not much or almost no gap at all between the two screens, which is why the phone has IP48, which makes it slightly more resistant to dust and small objects. And you get the USB-C port on the bottom of the phone like always. Needless to say, there is also no headphone jack or SD card included. Also, the fingerprint scanner is on the power button. I sometimes have problems with it and it's not as great as the side scanner on my Xperia phone or on the on-screen scanner on the Galaxy S24 Ultra, in my personal opinion. The screen is also bright. It is not anti-reflective like the S24 Ultra. It doesn't come with a screen protector for the cover screen, but the inside the screen has a screen protector pre-installed. Opening the phone is a bit harder than I imagined. You definitely need to use both hands to do it, and it's very tight. Also, when you want to close it, you have to put a bit of pressure on the middle, otherwise it would not close. And of course, you get a satisfying sound when you close it. We arrived at the Adidas office in Linz. I took some more videos and bought some donuts for my team to enjoy it in the evening. I always use the S Pen on my Ultra for sketching user interfaces, as I'm an app product manager. The pen on the Fold also works great, but I realized with the lights in the office and the black screen of Samsung Notes, there are too many reflections on the screen for my taste, and I did miss my Ultra. Another thing I noticed is that watching YouTube videos on the screen is much nicer and it feels much more like watching videos on computer compared to a phone. It was around 4 in the afternoon and the phone still had 63% left, while the majority of the time it was on 5G connection, which drains more battery. It's also 30 degrees Celsius, which is 87 degrees Fahrenheit, which is again okay considering the ambient temperature is high in the office. We finished work in the evening and went back again using the train. I made more videos as it was getting dark and it was a chance to push the camera a bit. The camera is okay for low light coming from a 15 Pro Max and S24 Ultra. I did feel there is a drop in performance and sharpness, but it is normal since the sensors are not as strong on the Fold. There are some applications that look fantastic on the Fold. My favorite is Google Maps, especially for navigation. It's very difficult to use it on the phone and you have to constantly go back and forth. But here you can look at the map in the background while doing your search on the left side, and I loved it. Another thing I enjoyed a lot is checking my emails on the bigger screen, even though I felt the quality of images is lacking and it is not very well scaled and optimized for bigger screens. But reading the text was great. I also found myself using the cover screen whenever I wanted to do something quick like playing a game of chess on the browser, and I was a bit self-conscious about opening the Fold in public. For anything less than a few minutes, I would not bother at all and just use the screen cover. But when I was, for example, sitting on the train, it is so nice to have the option to do multitasking on the main screen. On the Ultra, you can still split the screen in two, but it's very limited due to the space. But here it is like having two screens. For example, I could play chess on the right side while browsing Reddit on the left side without any issue. I can also, for example, having a meeting half of the screen while doing whatever I want on the other half. Another application that works great with the pen and larger screen is Adobe Lightroom, or basically any app that is designed for photo and video editing. A larger screen means I could see more details and it would also allow me to do better editing on my photos. You can also use Google Photos or Samsung Gallery AI tools instead. One problem that I faced was the quality of the under-screen camera on the main screen. The quality is really lacking and it was a bit problematic because I was having a meeting on the screen and I don't think folks really enjoyed the quality of my videos there. Also, the camera is not centered, which can be another issue. There are some applications that works great with the Fold. From my experience, namely YouTube is amazing. You can, for example, watch the video while navigating the comment section, something that I can't do on a normal phone, and it's always painful to go to the comment section. By the way, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you didn't already. It helps you more than you think. But there are some applications that are not optimized for the Fold, like the Instagram app. It doesn't look great on the Fold and the UX and UI are all over the place. Another example is the app that I'm a product manager of, and that's iOS running. We don't really optimize our app for Fold phones or tablets, and therefore it doesn't look great, something that we can look into in the future. We almost arrived in Vienna and the phone had 49% battery left. It was 33 degrees Celsius, which is 92 degrees Fahrenheit. We arrived around 7:30 at Vienna Westbahnhof, and I decided to go for a walk in Mariahilfestraße to take more pictures. The videos have a good dynamic range and good quality. It is not gonna win any prize for sure, but I don't think people buy the Fold for the camera anyway. When it comes to pictures, again, it doesn't win any prize, and I will do a comparison with the Ultra later, but the quality is on par with the base S24 or S24 Plus, even though it struggles in low light. The phone has 3 cameras, ultra wide, main lens and zoom. Here you can check the photos that I took with the zoom lens. The vibe of the pictures and the computational photography are very similar to S24 Ultra, as both of them are using the same software and even the same chipset, which is a Snapdragon 8 Generation 3. It was getting dark and the phone still had 26% battery left and was about 32 degrees Celsius, which is 89 degrees Fahrenheit. Since all tech YouTubers did this already, I also decided to check the latest One UI 6.11 AI features, and the most interesting one for me is a sketch to image. So I did make a sketch of the dome in Vienna and I asked AI to make it into a picture. It takes a few seconds for the phone to convert the image, and I would say the result is not bad at all. I really doubt this is a feature that I will use later, but it's there. I think from all the AI stuff, the only thing that I actually use is the circle to search. It was almost 10 o'clock when I decided to go home and the phone had 17% battery left. I snapped some photos at night before going home, which you can see when I got home the phone had 13% battery left with 4.5 hours of screen time, a few hours of music streaming and being connected to 5G for at least half a day and Wi-Fi for another half. The average temperature that I measured was also 32.4 degrees Celsius, which is 90.3 degrees Fahrenheit. Even though the battery survived the whole day, I would definitely carry a power bank if I plan to stay out the whole day, and I doubt it would survive the whole day under a heavier load. I'm a bit conflicted about the Fold so far. I have to spend more time with it, probably a few weeks, and then revisit the review. It has some improvements over the Z Fold 5, but overall it seems fairly similar, and some of the problems like not having the best camera or lack of an attachable S Pen are still there, but using the larger screen is just neat in a lot of productivity situations. If you like this video, watch the other comparison that I made with the S24 Ultra next. Thanks for tuning into Tecmo, and I will see you in the next one.